Okay guys, I'm going to try and jump into this quickly. This is Rachel, the Modern Shaman, and I'm going to answer another Q&A question you guys sent to me. I answer these kind of on my lunch break or in between sessions to try and make sure that I answer all your questions. So, am I like, Spirit always does that. What is up with that? You ever notice that? Big pushes of energy. Sorry, I'm going to plug this in. And, sorry, my light went out. That's what happens. Too much energy. Okay, so I'm going to jump in here and tell you again, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is the Modern Shaman, if you'd like to see these videos later or have access to previous videos I've done. Also, you can connect with me on my website, which is themodernshaman.net, and it has all sorts of info on there if you want to connect with me personally or get a session, one-on-one or, on Skype or whatnot. That's the best way to do it. And then also, if you would like to stay up with me on social media, if you're a social media person and you like staying connected that way, I have a Modern Shaman Facebook page that's just focused on, my spirit centric stuff that I do with my shaman work and my psychic life coaching focus. So you can connect with me on that and just put on there, you have to put on there, see first, so it becomes default in your news feed. So otherwise, for some reason, when you just like it, it doesn't always show up in your news feed. All right, let me jump in. Again, I'm going to try and make this video under 10 minutes. Let's see if I can do it. Here's the question that was sent to me by you beautiful people. I'm going to read it. It says, in your video on psychic blocks, you speak of releasing those blocks and setting up the lines of psychic communication. How do those psychic blocks affect twin flames and their psychic connections and their joint purpose and mission? Question mark. All right, the twin flame question. I have not spoken directly on twin flames before in the past, because there's so much hype and just crap out there in the New Age community about twin flames, and it's just so hyped right now. Basically, any topic that deals with, love relationships and sex, it's just always like so blown out of proportion. And unfortunately, the twin flame has been, that's happened with that topic of twin flames. If you're not familiar with that term, twin flames is used to explain a spirit that has been separated into positive, negative, yin-yang, feminine, masculine, polaric expressions, and incarnated in a male and a female body. And then they find each other on Earth in this incarnation and they have different purposes, but essentially are used to reunite and elevate vibrationally mankind back to our original kind of androgynous state. When we were in 7th dimension, 5th dimension, now we're in 3rd. But before then, before we kind of descended down to where we are currently, we were unified and androgynous and didn't have these polaric expressions. So it's a place that we are in within humanity where we're coming back up into our unified state of expression. So yes, when we are processing our psychic blocks, we're processing them as an individual. And when I say individual, I mean as a soul expression. So that means, throughout your Akashic record, your soul history, and processing how you have been maybe psychically persecuted for your gifts in past lives. I spoke about that on the previous video, about how that was a block that I had to process, was when I was killed for, sharing my gifts in a previous lifetime. Many people have had that experience. That's a very generalized experience of what people did in the past, or what the collective did to those that were using their multisensory gifts, depending on the culture that they incarnated in. A lot of them were killed for it or viewed as witches or, negatively viewed. And some, and I'm seeing this a lot with clients right now that I'm helping process this, had a very negative experience of it were utilized maybe by the dark side, so to speak, with governments utilizing their gifts or just using them in negative ways. And so they have fear in their cache of using those gifts because they don't want it to be used in a negative way. They don't want to harm people or hurt people with these multisensory gifts. And everybody can do this. Again, I say this on all my videos, but I'll reiterate it again now in case this is the first video that you see of mine, that everyone is connected in this way. Everyone has the ability to utilize their multisensory perception, which is just beyond our 6 traditional senses. This is just your internal sight, your internal hearing, and all of these interdimensional connected senses. We all have the ability to do this, and we've done it before. It's a process of remembering and unblocking those energetic blocks that we've set up within ourselves. So yes, we do that on a personal level, looking back at our own personal past lives and our own personal experience in this life and trying to release those energetic blockages. And then we also, if you're part of the twin flame expression, we also do this on the level of twin flame. You just add another level to that. So you have a history as a twin. You have a unified history when you were androgynous and in spirit form, fully unified. And then you have a Akashic history as a split polaric expression of feminine and negative, and I'm sorry, not negative, feminine and masculine. And remember, you've been both. You've switched off and you've taken turns playing those roles. Like I've been a man in many past lives, and my twin has been a female in many past lives. So you've taken turns at that, but you both have a cache, a history separate, and you have a history together. And a lot of times those histories will be triggers for each other to process those energetic blockages at a much more rapid, higher vibrational pace. So this is why a lot of times the twin expression is very intense, because when you come together, you trigger each other, and you trigger a lot of patterning that have built up, not just from your life and your expressions, but their life and their expressions. So it's like you're dealing with double. It's like a double whammy on this level. But if you've chosen the twin flame expression, and that's part of your collective purpose here on Earth for humanity, to be raising this vibrational level to where we're coming back to our unified androgynous state, which is, fifth dimensional presence and seventh dimensional presence. These are all more unified states of consciousness and not the duality that we have right now in 3D. As you're helping us process that for humanity, you are ready for this. You're capable of dealing with this twin flame release of these blockages. So you're going to have to deal with your own crap first, and then you will have to deal with the unified stuff that you trigger within each other, and you'll have to process that together. That's a key right there. Because if you're familiar with all the stuff that happens in a lot of those relationships with the runner and all this stuff, a lot of times we feel like we're forced to deal with it on our own. The twin blockages energetically must be dealt with at a unified space. So even if they're done in the astral realm, you need to release them as a whole, where you were in a unified expression, if that makes sense. So you'll trigger each other to release those things, and then the release will happen in a unified sense and will kind of trickle down into your 3D personal expression, their 3D personal expression. And same with your psychic connections. So you may have some that you are particularly connected to. For example, you may be, like with me, I intend and utilize my connections in the waking state. A lot of times the twin will do so in the dream state. So they may be very connected to spirit via lucid dreaming or kind of directing their dream space. And you may be very connected in your waking state. So together, there's a unified balance of all states of consciousness that when you're in your androgynous state together, that's not a polaric expression of feminine and masculine, but is the one true expression of your soul. It encompasses all of those interdimensional realms, interdimensional spaces, that interplay within your physical body and their physical body and their mental body, their astral body, all of these levels. This is a really high-level question, and I feel like I'm throwing terms around like nobody's business, and I hope it makes sense to you guys because I'm speaking on a lot of levels. So maybe you'll receive at whatever level is relevant for you. Once you've cleared that out, you can set up your own language, soul language, so to speak, with your twin. You can also do this with your soul families and soul groups, and there's lots of levels here because we are literally like a spider web of connections, and we're not just connected via twin. We also have, catalyst relationship, we have soulmate relationships, we have what I'm dealing with right now, which is an angelic and dragon expression, which is kind of like the twin but on a higher level frequency of the angelic realms, and all sorts of connections that have to be worked through and balanced because we're eternal and this goes on forever. And we think we get to some high level and then we're like, oh crap, I'm at the bottom of the next level. So it just keeps going. And fun. I'm going to end right there. Dang it, almost at 12 minutes. But feel free to message me if this has just confused you even further, or if you have further questions on this, specific questions with you and your twin, or how that's playing out in your life. I'd be happy to answer those. Okay, I'm good with that. Love you guys. Blessings.